that's red. She's got the spices, smile so bright. Cooking with Judith right by my side. By my side. Chop, chop, sizzle, frying pan heat. From pancakes to a fancy feast. Cooking with Judith, fun to say the least.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and today, as it is the beginning of September and weather's starting to cool down a little, all the kids are back to school, I wanted to do a soup. I like soup, and it's such an easy meal, but it can be absolutely wonderful. So what I'm going to do today is an oxtail soup. So if you wonder what an ox is, it's basically a bull that has been castrated, and they're generally used as a work animal on the farm. Oxtail is basically a tail from a bovine, a cow, a bull. It's not a different breed of animal. Oxes were used, and still are, for hauling, pulling wagons, carts. Generally they are a farm work animal. Anyways, to make the soup, I've got some oxtail, and I got just over a half a kilo, 558 grams. Bay leaf, which I never leave out of my soup. It's not right if it doesn't have bay leaf in it. Onions, celery, carrot, potatoes, all the usual. But I have some red wine, some butter beans I want to put in. They're optional. I just happen to like beans in soup. Got some tomato, strained tomatoes, or you could use tomato paste. Thyme will be the main herb in it. Actually, probably the only herb, other than the bay leaf. And salt and pepper, some really good beef stock, and a little bit of flour for thickening. So first thing we have to do, season our oxtail and brown it all over. That's where the salt and pepper come in. So let's get started. Seasoning your oxtail is fairly simple. You just want a pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper. Well, depends on how much you like pepper. So, I mean, I like pepper, but not in great quantities. So I'm just going to use a little pinch like that. Turn everybody over. And now my hands are gooky and I don't want to stick them in my... There we go. A helpful spoon. Oops, a little bit more than I intended on that one. Oh well. Okay. I have a Dutch oven heating on a low medium, because we just need to brown these all over before we start assembling our soup. And we also have to chop our vegetables. Now that my Dutch oven has warmed up, I'm going to add some oil. You can use vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you prefer. Just using avocado oil. And use whatever pot you prefer to make your soup in. Just if it's a heavy bottom pot, that's best. So now we're just going to add our oxtail and get it all lovely and brown. So this is going to take a little while. We don't want our heat too high because we don't want to burn it. We just want it a nice golden brown. Okay, as your oxtails brown on each side, turn them. Everything nice and brown. And you may need to tilt the pot to get the oil moving around. Oops, there we go. So So once they're browned all over, we're going to take them out of the pot and just put them on a plate or a dish of some sort, because we'll be adding them back in later. But next we need to deal with the vegetables. There's our oxtail, all nice and browned, and we're going to set that aside while we deal with our vegetables. So you may need to add a little more oil to your pan at this point. Okay, I've got a cup of yellow onion. And you want a medium dice on it. And then I have about a teaspoon of grated garlic, almost said ginger. I'm just going to saute that for a minute, like literally 1 minute. Then I have half a cup of celery and about a cup of carrot. I'm not going to add potatoes just yet. Just trying to see if the moisture from the vegetables will get up all that lovely brown residue from the oxtails. There we go. Okay. And you don't have to cook your vegetables all the way through. They are going to have a long time to cook coming up. So now we're going to take our flour. I have 1/3 of a cup. I'm not going to need all of it. I'm just going to start with about half of it. Just depends on how much the oil absorbs. If you put too much flour in, it's just not going to work well. If you put too little in, it's not going to work well. But basically, we're just turning our vegetables into a mass of floury goodness. And now we have to let that cook for a bit to cook out the raw flour and let it absorb the oil. And at this stage, keep an eye on it. It does burn rather quickly if you're not careful. But we do want the flour, to cook. So it will take a couple of minutes. And I don't think I'm going to need any more flour than that. Just give it a stir every now and then so that everything gets to touch the heat. Now, if you have fresh thyme, by all means, that would be wonderful. But I didn't get any. So, dried thyme it is. I'm going to add that, about a teaspoon. For now, we'll be adding more later. Oh, that smells lovely. Okay, now that everything's had a chance to, greet the heat, we are going to add our tomato. We don't need a whole lot of tomato. If you're using tomato paste, probably about a tablespoon. But I forgot I used my tomato paste, so strained tomatoes it is. And I'm going with 4 tablespoons. And red wine, I think, not to get you the measurement, later because I'm not really sure how much this holds. I think it's about 250 milliliters when it's full. And now is a good chance to scrape everything up off the bottom. There we go. And 4 cups or 1 liter of good beef stock. If your broth gets too thick while it cooks, go ahead and add some water. So let's find out how much this actually holds. So that was 1/3 of a cup of red wine. And don't forget your bay leaf. If all you have is little ones, use 2 or 3. And then we're going to add our oxtails back in. And I want to check, see if we need more thyme in there. Or salt, or anything. Needs a little more of something. Actually, just going to let it cook for now. And we'll figure out what it needs later. Flavors may change as it cooks. So lid, not quite all the way on. Leave a little airspace, or leave a little gap. Turn the heat up, bring it up to a simmer. And we're going to let it go for an hour and a half. So we've given it an hour. Let's see how we're doing. Looking good. Let's give it a taste. Wonderfully beefy. I think we're going to add more thyme, another teaspoon. May add some more salt later, not right now. So now I'm going to add the potato. So I have about 1.5 cups of new potato. And I don't peel mine. The goodness is right there with the peel. And I've cut them in sort of medium dice, small dice. I don't want huge pieces, so I tried to make them about the same size as the carrots. Now we're going to recover, same as before, and let it go another hour to an hour and a half. So that's another hour simmering. Ooh, getting nice. A little scrape up everything off the bottom. Now if it does get too thick, add some water. I think I might need to add some water, but I want to check how our oxtail is. So we want it nice and tender. I think it could actually go a little longer. So let's put some water in. Let's give it another taste here. Oh, it's just getting so good. So don't use cold water. If you can, actually use boiling water to top it up. And I don't need a whole lot. Just enough to thin it down a little bit. And we're going to go another half an hour to an hour. Just we want that oxtail so tender that it just falls off the bone. So that only took another half hour to get the oxtails nice and tender. So now we're going to take them out. I know there's 2 little ones in there somewhere. There's one. Oh well, we'll find that one later. So we're just going to let those cool a little bit so we can handle them. I am going to turn the soup off now. And I'm going to add the beans. Now, these are totally optional. There's just 1 can of butter beans. They're not usually found in an oxtail soup, but I do like butter beans in my soup. So now we just wait for the oxtails to cool a little bit so we can handle them. And then we're going to take the meat off the bones and put it back in the soup. Once you've gotten the meat off the bones, just either cut it or shred it with a fork and add it back into your soup. And getting it off the bone, a small knife will come in handy to get through some of the more stubborn pieces of connective tissue. And just stir that back into the soup. And just check to see how warm it is. You may need to reheat it. It's warm, but I think we'll just heat it up a little bit more. Should have probably left the lid on. Oxtail soup. Thick, hearty, delicious. In fact, it's almost stew rather than soup. It's so thick. Let's give it a taste. Oh, that is so good. And don't forget to serve it with some nice hearty bread. And it definitely has a distinct flavor. Different than your average beef soup. Much more flavorful. And as the oxtails have a lot of connective tissue in them, it's very good for your skin, your hair, your fingernails, toenails. All that collagen is wonderful stuff. And as the weather gets colder, the whole family will appreciate a wonderful, warm, filling bowl of oxtail soup. Now I know I use red wine in mine. That is completely optional. It's not really going to change the flavor all that much if you leave it out, but it does add a little bit more complexity to the flavor. The salt and pepper used to season the oxtails before you brown them is enough. You don't actually need to add more to the soup as you cook it. Of course, if you do under-season your oxtails, you may need to. But this is a wonderful, wonderful dinner or lunch for the cooler weather that's coming. Thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like. I like that thumbs up. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all the things, check all the boxes. I thank you so much for watching. Please share this with your friends and family. And I appreciate every one of you that watches and the comments. Keep them coming. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon with a new video while I finish my oxtail soup.